A Jessamine County Sheriff's deputy is in the hospital after crashing his cruiser this afternoon. We'll have the latest from the scene.
A family on vacation on Lake Cumberland were the victims of a home invasion. We'll have more on the violent attack.
What do Kentuckians think about the Supreme Court decision over same-sex marriage? Results from a new WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass Poll are ahead.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
Good afternoon. A Jessamine County Sheriff's deputy is recovering after crashing his cruiser this afternoon. This happened just after 1 o'clock on Highway 1267 near West Brannan Road. Investigators say the deputy was trying to catch up with burglary suspects when he hit another car and ran off the road. The deputy was taken to the hospital and the suspects got away. WKYT's Sean Moody is in Jessamine County with our top story at 5.
The chief deputy at the Jessamine County Sheriff's Office said this all started after some burglaries in the county. He said a silver or light blue car with Florida plates was a suspect vehicle at 2 burglaries and 1 attempted burglary here in the county today. He said a Jessamine County Sheriff's deputy was driving by and saw a car that matched that description when he turned around to try and catch up to it. That's when he says the crash happened. This was along Highway 1267 near Delaney's Ferry Road. Kentucky State Police said the deputy saw that car pass the other direction, so he turned around to try and catch up. As he got going the other direction, police say a Buick in front of the deputy pulled to the side to let him by. As he did that, police said the deputy's tire slipped off the side of the road and he lost control, hitting that Buick. Police said there were 2 people inside that Buick, a man and a woman. They say the woman went to get checked out at St. Joe and Nicholasville, but they don't believe she had serious injuries. The man was okay. The deputy went to St. Joseph Hospital in Lexington with lower back pain. State police had the road closed for a couple of hours while they investigated, and while they did that, the sheriff's office called for help from the Lexington police to use their helicopter to try and search for that burglary suspect. Lexington police said they weren't able to spot that car from their helicopter. The Jessamine County Sheriff's Office is still looking for it. Again, they say it's a light blue or silver car with Florida plates. In Jessamine County, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Sean, thank you. We just received this picture of the damaged cruiser. You can see the driver's side passenger door took the brunt of the crash. There is some conflicting information on whether the deputy's lights and sirens were on at the time of that collision.
As far as the weather, we had a beautiful weekend after a wet start this morning. Cleared up for most of the day, but more showers and thunderstorms could be making their way back into the bluegrass, along with some cooler temperatures as well. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell's in the First Alert Weather Center with much more. Hey, Jim.
You know, we've got a wild ride coming up. We've got the true August heat coming at you over the next couple of days. Showers and thunderstorms, and then we're back in the 70s for daytime highs by the end of the week. So we are all over the place. And we're all over the place with this graphic, too. Check it out. We're looking at the folks there in Corbin, Frankfort, here in Lexington, and also in Richmond. All running except for Corbin at 88 degrees. Corbin comes in at 85, but one common thing, a mix of sun and clouds throughout the entire area. A great day. Even though the humidity did jump up just a little bit today, it's still pretty comfortable out there for most of us. Defender has been actively tracking some showers and thunderstorms north of the Commonwealth. We can look at them there. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings have been issued across parts of Indiana into Ohio, and we'll watch for this to maybe try to develop into northern Kentucky, maybe skirting some of our counties as we progress here through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. Temperatures all across Kentucky suggesting a little more heat. August heat, true August heat. This is where we should be, around 88 now in Richmond, 89 in London, and you got low and mid-90s out to our west. Very normal for this time of year. We'll take a look at those rain chances and, of course, that cool stuff coming up for you here in just a few minutes.
Police in southern Kentucky are looking for an intruder who beat and robbed a woman.
It happened at a home in Wayne County near Lake Cumberland. WKYT's Phil Pendleton has more on the investigation.
The house where this happened is actually a log cabin, a home away from home, a place where early Sunday morning, a terrifying few moments for a family of 7 that was staying there. Now, police say about 4:30 Sunday morning, the man went into the home, up the stairs, and confronted a woman that was sleeping. I'm told that she was assaulted, her money and prescription drugs taken. He got away, but not before the others in the home gave chase. Police say they have a decent description of the man they are looking for.
Well, we're pretty confident. You never really know, but like I said, we do have a good description, good vehicle description, so we feel like we can solve this one.
I'm told the woman was taken to the hospital mainly for observation. She's expected to be okay. She does have some previous health issues. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we speak to this family about what happened to them. For now, in Wayne County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Police tell us they're not going to release the description of the suspect, worried it could actually hurt their investigation.
The search continues this afternoon for a robber in Richmond. It happened this morning at a Hispanic grocery store on the Eastern Bypass. Police say the robber showed a gun and ran off after getting some money. State police say they helped Richmond police in the search for the suspect after the robbery. Canine units searched the area, but the robber got away. Longtime Urban County Council member Eadie Lane has died. To some, he may be better known as the publisher and founder of the Lane Report or as a realtor. According to his namesake publication, the Lane Report, Lane battled cancer for more than 2 years, a situation that was unknown outside his immediate family. We'll hear from the editorial director of the Lane Report about Mr. Lane's legacy coming up on WKYT News at 6.
One lane of I-64 in Montgomery County has reopened earlier today. An overturned tanker led to a major cleanup effort along that stretch of interstate. Officials say the tanker had just filled up in Lexington and was carrying about 1,000 gallons of diesel and nearly 8,000 gallons of gasoline when it overturned. Response teams say none of that made its way out of the tank. We're told the driver was taken to UK hospital in critical condition. His name has not been released. We now know when a Boyle County man charged in a vicious dog attack will be in court. Christopher Pope's arraignment has been set for August 10th. Pope's 7 dogs attacked Loretta Stevens last month in Lincoln County. He was keeping the dogs behind a nearby home that was unoccupied. Pope has been charged with harboring a vicious animal and animal cruelty. A vapor leak was reported at the Bluegrass Army Depot earlier today in Madison County. In a release sent out from the facility, a low-level mustard vapor reading was detected during the weekly chemical weapons stockpile check. As a safety precaution, a powered filter has been connected to the igloo to contain the vapor released. Trained chemical workers will be let in to find the source of that leak and then fix it. Madison County and the Kentucky Emergency Management Agencies were notified, along with the Kentucky Department for Environmental Protection. The Bluegrass Army Depot says there is no danger to the public or the installation workforce.
President Obama announcing new rules that will set the first nationwide standards to cap the amount of carbon pollution power plants are allowed to generate. Each state will have until 2022 to create and implement their own plan to meet those goals that were announced today. Weijia Jiang has more details from Washington, D.C.
The president is ordering unprecedented limits on U.S. power plants.
We're the first generation to feel the impact of climate change and the last generation that can do something about it.
The cuts on greenhouse gases are even steeper than expected, with a goal to reduce carbon emissions by 32% by 2030. Wind and solar will rise from just 5% of the nation's energy to 28%.
The nerdier way to say that is that we'll be keeping 870 million tons of carbon dioxide pollution out of our atmosphere, or it's the equivalent of taking 166 million cars off the road.
Opponents are promising a tough fight. 20 to 30 states have said they will sue the Obama administration over the proposal immediately and simply won't comply with the rules.
I don't think it's realistic at all.
Environmental economist Nick Loris with the conservative think tank the Heritage Foundation predicts the average home energy bill will spike by 12 to 17%.
Because energy is such a staple for everything we produce and consume, those costs are going to ripple through the economy. So it's not just when your energy bill comes, but through all goods and services you pay for.
States have until 2022 to comply with the new rules. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, Washington.
The new EPA rules could play a role in the 2016 election because it will be up to President Obama's successor to carry out the plan or shelve it. The president's plan to make cuts in power plant emissions is being condemned by Kentucky politicians. Democratic nominee for Governor Jack Conway calls it a job-killing rule that he will fight in court as the state's attorney general. His Republican opponent for governor, Matt Bevin, says the anti-coal rule would drive up electricity rates in this state. And the head of the Kentucky Coal Association says the new EPA rule will not only hurt Kentucky, but also not help with climate control.
That only 3% of man-made carbon on this planet comes from coal-fired power plants here in the United States. So what the president's doing by reducing that amount is only affecting a fraction of man-made carbon, especially as the rest of the world is moving towards coal usage.
More than 90% of Kentucky's electricity comes from coal. The new EPA rule is also being denounced by U.S. Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Governor Steve Beshear.
Up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
What do Kentuckians think about the U.S. Supreme Court decision over same-sex marriage?
Bill Bryant has the results from our latest WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass Poll.
Good evening. A little more than a month ago, the U.S. Supreme Court delivered one of its most controversial decisions ever. Prompted by bans in Kentucky and 3 other states, the High Court ruled that the Constitution guarantees a right to same-sex marriage. Both sides had gathered outside the court to await the decision. A decade ago, 3 out of every 4 Kentuckians who cast a ballot voted to approve banning gay marriage. With June's Supreme Court ruling, Kentucky's ban was voided and the door opened up to gay marriages in all 50 states. The new WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass poll shows 53% of likely Kentucky voters disagree with the court's decision. 38% agree with it. The remaining 10% were unsure.
53% are opposed to what the Supreme Court did. Now, obviously, those numbers don't match what we're seeing nationally, but what they do represent, I think, is more and more change towards, I think, a broader acceptance of gay marriage here in Kentucky.
Will the controversy of same-sex marriage impact the governor's race? We'll have more on that ahead on WKYT News at 6. Plus, what Kentuckians think should happen to those clerks who refuse to issue marriage licenses. Now, for the Bluegrass Poll, Survey USA talked to 1,000 people across Kentucky during the last week of July. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
For a detailed look at the Bluegrass Poll results, just go to WKYT.com. Memphis police have released a new photo of the man wanted in the Saturday night shooting death of a police officer. Police say 29-year-old Tremaine Wilburn struggled with 33-year-old officer Sean Bolton during what started out as a routine traffic stop. Officer Bolton was shot several times and died at the hospital. The car's driver turned himself in. Wilburn is considered armed and dangerous. Authorities are offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to his arrest.
It's been more than 500 days since a Malaysia Airlines jet disappeared over the Indian Ocean. Malaysia's government is urging patience while experts in France determine if a piece of wing found on Reunion Island last week is from Flight 370.
It is wrong to relay any information that is not verified beyond reasonable doubt. We have to be very, very sure. That's why we have a big team in France now to ascertain the debris, and we hope that we can get a result as soon as possible.
Analysis on that wing part begins on Wednesday. Australian transportation officials say another object found Sunday on Reunion Island turned out to be part of a ladder. The searches for more debris that may be related to the airliner continue on Reunion and other islands in that area.
It is time now for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. How do you start running if you've been a couch potato? Well, today we have some tips from a trainer on how you can get started and stay injury-free in the process. Here's Holly Furfer with today's Health Minute.
Douglas Mogul is new to running, but he's decided to do a 5K race. Learning to run actually starts with a lot of walking. Trainer April Berkey says you walk a little, then jog a little.
3 days a week, and especially to start, maybe 15-20 minutes a day of a walk-run combo.
Mogul doesn't really like to run, but he's committed.
It's still something that I find to be a little bit boring. Headphones help, or running with a partner helps a lot.
Berkey says new runners also need a running plan. Go online and search for Beginning 5K Training Program. This tells you how often and how long to walk and jog each week.
It's going to help prevent injury, make sure you're not doing too much.
Because working out too hard and too fast is one of the biggest mistakes new runners make. You also need a good pair of running shoes, and if you can spring for it, a heart rate monitor. It's tough on the body to always run on hard streets or sidewalks, so find softer surfaces when you can. Give yourself a couple of months to train and get to the point where you run during your whole workout. For today's Health Minute, I'm Holly Furfer.
The Kraft Heinz company is recalling 36,000 cases of individually wrapped cheese singles because they may present a choking hazard. The voluntary recall involves the 3-pound and 4-pound boxes of Kraft Singles American and White American pasteurized cheese. Kraft says a thin strip of the packaging film could remain on the cheese slice even after the wrapper has been removed. Anyone with cheese included in this recall should return it to the store for an exchange or a refund. And it has been a good summer for drivers at the gas pump. AAA says prices are dropping for the 18th day straight as many families are hitting the road for vacation. AAA says gas prices are falling at the fastest rate since January. That's due to cheaper crude oil costs. Right now, the national average at the pump is $2.65.